Welcome to Violin Adventures number 221. We continue work on our 1800s cello. Time for the clamps to come off. So I'm going to take down this patch, and then on the other side, here where the bridge feet have really chewed up the top, I'm going to build this up with a couple patches. But we'll start first taking down this patch and making sure the vibrations are coming through. Okay, having got this fairly clean, I'm going to get a new bass bar, plan it according to the bridge, and we're going to see where it will hit. And then we'll decide what to do with these cleats. We'll either leave them, or we'll cut them down, or we'll remove them. So let's see how it goes. But first we've got to find a good, beautiful sounding piece of wood. That means going into the wood room. It's a little harder to find a bass bar for a cello because we need a long, beautiful piece of straight wood. Now we've got this, which has straight grain. Can you hear that? It's just beautiful tone. I'm not sure though. We'll see if we can find 2 or 3 pieces, and then we'll compare them. I want to make sure I've got the best. Now here's a big piece of wood, beautiful straight. Doesn't that sound like a bell? Beautiful, beautiful tone. So there's 2 pieces. Okay, this is a 3rd piece, and it's very responsive when I touch it. You can hear how it carries the tone. There's the tone in that piece of wood. Okay, I've got plenty of tone wood here. We'll go out and pick a piece. So I chose this beautiful big piece of wood that just had beautiful tone. It sings while you're working on it. So now I'm going to cut this piece down, of course. Well, I've got the bass bar cut down, but in order to do any planning, we first got to figure out the path of the bass bar in relation to the foot of the bridge, and from that we calculated from the middle seam, and I could not find the middle seam. I finally did find it down here, and I marked it, and I found it up here, so I've marked that, and that will help us find it in the middle here. But that is a really good middle seam, you cannot see it. So now that I have the middle seam, I can plan. Okay, I've got a good path now for the bass bar. The bass bar is cut down, and so now I'm happy with this placement. So now I can go into fitting the bass bar, which can take 1 or 2 hours, or it can take days. I've got one side that seems to look really good, but the other side we've got just a little places where it's not completely touching. So alright, it's now evening, but good news, we've got the bass bar all fit. So waiting for the glue to warm up. Just look at that bench covered in curlies. Got the bass bar done. The sound post isn't quite finished because I want to adjust the thickness of the top after I work on the outside here. So we're going to raise up the wood here under the bridge feet, and then I'll finish off the thickness here on the patch, although we've got it really close. As far as the tone, so the cello is definitely talking, which we know it's a good sounding cello. So we're getting the tone back, hopefully, nice and pure. Now you can see here the glue drips from a previous repair. So I've taken off the glue that was there, and we just have little bits of like stain. They're not really stain, but they're just marks where the glue was, and I don't want to thin the top any more than it is because it's at 4 millimeters, which is on the thin side. It's not too bad, but we don't want to go any thinner. So I'm very careful about watching the thicknesses. So now the next plan, because I don't hear any buzzing, and these cracks that have been cleated really look nice and solid and nothing is buzzing. So my plan is to go around, check everything, and so far it looks good. If there's a crack like in the corner here on the wing, I'll pump some glue into that. It doesn't come all the way through, so I'll pump some glue into the outside. We're going to get a close-up look here at this top. And the main thing that concerns me is this crack right here. Just cut this out and then inlay just a small piece. And the idea is to strengthen this, because at this point I have no guarantee that that's going to stay once it gets under pressure. So I'm going to strengthen this side by inlaying another piece of wood, but I want to first do a trial on this little piece here. And slide it into place. So what I'm doing now is preparing the surface on this cello. And if it were original varnish, I wouldn't be doing this. From information from the owner, this varnish has been messed with. So I have the liberty now to prepare the surface here. So I'm removing the varnish that's here, preparing this for a good wood on wood, raw wood to raw wood contact. Just a warning, don't do this if you've got original varnish. Well, it looks like the last repair, somebody put something in here, maybe with the same idea. The problem being that I don't know if they put wood in there or if it was more a powder substance, and that would be why it opened again. The risk of doing this kind of a repair is if you don't get both sides and fill it completely with the piece of wood that you have, it will open again. So I'm not going very deep, maybe just a millimeter or less. And I'm just going to make sure it's completely cleaned out. Here I am, I'm just cleaning this out. You can see how it powders. And especially up in here. Well, maybe we got it clean now. I don't know if you can see that powder that I've got out. And that was up in here. So I'm gonna keep picking at this until I get wood, because there is some kind of, maybe it was filled with some kind of putty or powder, and we don't want that. We want real wood in here. Well, this little repair is gonna take a while because I want to make sure it goes down deep enough and also is a good fit. So it's going to take a while. We've got 2 violins here that came in for a little repair. They're beautiful instruments, but there's one problem, and that is the bridge. If you see this bridge, how it's leaning forward, and that's what happens to your bridge over time. The more you tune it, you have to keep an eye on that bridge. And the good thing is, this violin was brought in just in time before it snaps or falls over. Here's another example of a bridge. Over time, you're just busy playing and you don't pay attention to your bridge. It eventually starts to bend like this. And what's the next step? This will either break in half or it'll snap down, and that can cause a crack on the top of your violin. So when your violin gets like that, you can bring it into the shop and I'll fix it. But if you can't bring it in, you can pinch up here in front of the bridge and slowly push it backward. Now, I'm not going to do that to this one because I don't want it to snap on me. What I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to loosen the strings. I'm going to put protection under the bridge because this one is ready to snap. Some work on our new violin. Okay, back at our new violin, I'm going to get the sealer coat on. Then we can get the label in and close it up. Time for a story. We're reading from Violins and Violinists by Franz Farga, and we're on chapter 14. And this is covering violinists in Berlin, Mannheim, and Vienna. And so I'm moving over here to page 143. Haydn in Vienna opened up a new vista in symphonic development. Vienna's orchestras set new standards, and Austria's school of violin playing quickly made up for the lost time. The initiative came from Leopold Mozart, who published his Thorough Violin School in Salzburg in 1756. It was by no means the first book of its kind. There had been about 10 before, most of them Italian, but 4 being in German. Leopold Mozart, however, presented his material in a graphic way, making the best use of the methods developed by other violinists, especially Tartini, Locatelli, and Geminiana. I don't know if that's right, but he built up a very practical manual which paved the way to good violin technique for many young people, including Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, who was an excellent violinist until he reached the age of 19. His genius for everything connected with music helped him to surmount his first obstacles with the greatest of ease. At 14, the Archbishop appointed him concert master. Several journeys to Italy with his father brought him great recognition as a violinist and stimulated his ambition. As a result of these journeys, young Mozart wrote several violin compositions which show his preference for that instrument. For example, the concertone for 2 violins and orchestra, which he wrote for the Salzburg violinist Brunetti and himself. The Hofner Serenade, with its brilliant violin solos, and 5 violin concertos, which he composed according to a handwritten remark on the manuscript for his own use. It seems almost incredible that these 5 delightful concertos were composed in less than a year. When examined chronologically, they display ever-mounting difficulties, proving that Mozart made enormous strides in his technique, because we know that he played them all in public. His father kept on admonishing him, convinced that he could become the first virtuoso in Europe. He wanted him to improve his playing, but from the time of his journey to Paris, Mozart neglected his violin studies. This is easily enough explained by his increasing activity as a composer. He just could not find time for the number of hours practice each day which were necessary to keep and raise his technical standard. The 5 concertos composed by 19-year-old Mozart are veritable miracles of serene charm, sweet dreaming, and rhythmical esprit. Some wonder that the D major and A major concertos in particular have always been favorites of all great violinists. Another masterpiece of this period of Mozart's creative career is his Sinfonie Concertante for violin and viola. Okay, that's the end of that chapter. Next we go into the Viati set. Freddie wants to chat.
Hi, I'm Freddie, and it's a lot warmer this time, but it's raining outside. So now, here's 2 pictures from Banjo Rose. She lives in Texas, and this is the first time they had snow like this. That looks really cold, Rose. Well, thank you for sending in your pictures, and don't forget to send me the projects you're working on out there. Okay, bye.
The Hebrew Minute. He wrote Seh Hashem ba'amo yafa'er ana'im b'Yeshua. For the Lord takes pleasure or delights in his people. He will beautify the meek or the humble, those who take direction with salvation. And there's Yeshua. If you know where this is found, please leave it in the comments below. This is Friday afternoon and it is raining and has been raining. We're getting a good downpour. Let's go inside where it's dry. Here inside the shop, we've got a lot of projects going on. Here's our cello from the 1800s. We're working on that repair on the top. Here's our new violin. This is a violin from the grandparents to their granddaughter, and it's going to get a new bridge and soundpost. Here we finished up those bent bridges and put new ones on, so they're ready to go. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your wonderful comments. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you to the new subscribers. Thank you for all of you who are always faithful. And until next time, bye.